Hey, Dave. Okay, all right, I think we're good. Again, we'd like to open up the regular scheduled meeting for July 12th, 2022 at 7:01. Please join me with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, again, our agenda, is any public input? I know Mary's here to watch. Is there anybody else? Who's that, Mr. Preston?
She's the assistant comptroller.
Oh, excellent. Oh, okay, small picture. All right, so there's no public input, so we'll move right on. Any correspondence? No correspondence for anybody? Again, consideration of the minutes of July 6th, I'm sorry, of June 14th. We'll separate them. Do I have a motion for the minutes as written on June 14th? Excuse me.
Motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Excellent. I'll second them. Oh, there's D. D, you second it?
I can, sure.
Excellent, thank you. Any other discussion on those minutes? Any corrections needed or anything? Dan, you're all good? You're on mute? If you want to unmute yourself or.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm real good.
All right, great. All in favor on the June 14th minutes, signify saying aye.
Aye.
The record show unanimous. The next one, we had a special meeting on July 6th of 22. Accept a motion for that minutes.
So moved.
Excellent. Bob, do we have a second?
Daleen can't choose absent.
I wasn't there, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were home. It's not-
I was
okay.
driving in.
All right. We just made a motion on the special meeting. You were here. Would you like to second the minutes for the July 6th meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Any other corrections? Everybody had a chance to read them? We're all good? All in favor?
Aye.
And we had one abstention.
I
Daleen was-
abstained, yes.
All right. On the agenda, we'll go off with the fund balance policy. We talked about updating this. This was not been touched for like the last 10 years, I believe, Bob and Brad.
I think 2013 was the last update.
2013, okay, so almost 10 years. Okay. Brad, do you want to go into a little bit of history of it and then?
Yeah, so the last time I believe it was done in 2013. We did it at 10%, which at the time I think we were right around 10%. We blew past that. We've been talking about updating it for a while, so we're not getting around to doing that. Bob Manfredo was nice enough to clean up our language some on the fund balance and the tax stabilization. Marty has reviewed both. I am good with what Bob wrote up, except I'd like to see it at 18% instead of 15%.
Okay.
But that's, otherwise, I think what Bob wrote up is perfect. It's much cleaner. I guess there was some language in there that was messy, for lack of a better term. So thank you, Bob, for cleaning that up for us.
Sure. Yes, thank you for spending the time, Bob, and taking the initiative to do it.
So the only other thing, the two numbers in there, the 15s, and then what happens when you go over would have to then move to 20. Because otherwise you can't, to try to get in that sweet spot between 18 and 20. I did submit a letter to everybody from Barry Bernardi, who does all of our bond counsel stuff. Not bond counsel, that's a lawyer. He does all of our bond work for us. And he talked about the 15 is good, but he did mention when the rating agencies look at it, they add to our budget, even though we don't pay it, the teacher retirement. So that's why I'm more comfortable at 18. I know this current makeup of this board has been very pro making sure we protect our fund balance and protect our bond rating. To Bob Manfredo's point, 15 is probably fine. I like the number 18 because who knows what future boards look like. So I think it just gives us the town a little extra protection there. So a board doesn't come in and raid the fund balance.
And just speak a little more about the benefit part of it. If there's a if there's a problem on the pension side,
it automatically digs into the fund balance, is that correct?
No,
Because
so
we
what,
don't have that trust set up, I'm sorry.
so you're talking about the OPEB.
Yes,
So part of our fund balance is the money that's in the OPEB account, which I believe is like 1.5, $1.6 million. So what that money was set aside for is the post-retirement insurance for employees on the board side and the town side. The town and the board have always paid as they went through the operating budget. So we've never dipped into these funds. I don't really have offhand what the liability is, but the rating agencies wanted to see you start putting money away years ago, so we started to. It's one of the GASB updates. They changed how you reported it. It's counted as part of our fund balance. And the reason it is the money's not in a trust. When Bob Kozlowski was here, we had a lot of discussions about whether or not to put that money in a trust. We decided not to because since we've been paying through the operating budget, the post-retirement piece, if you put it in a trust, you pretty much have to use it for those benefits and you'd have to draw on it at some point. We just liked it being a little more liquid. If it's not in a trust, if we needed to, we could use those funds for something. If something catastrophic happened, you could dip into it. If it was in a trust, it's tied up. Like the pensions funds, you can only use for pension. So that's why that's not counted as part of our fund balance.
And did you say one of the reasons in some of our conversations that because of the Board of Ed, it can't be tied up because they do things differently or something?
So it could be put in a trust. We chose not to. The Board of Ed does not offer traditional, like you get health insurance after you retire. The Board of Ed's, the teacher contract, I believe it might be all the employees, but at least if nothing else, it's the teacher, which is the bulk of their employees. They have to pay 100%. They get to stay on the benefits, but they have to pay 100% of the premium, but it's the premium that the active teachers pay. So, and a retiree premium's higher. So it's that difference. That's what makes up their liability. So it gets mixed into the pool. So that's why they pay through the operating, because everybody pays a little bit more, even for like people that are on it retired. But there is a potential liability out there. So that's why that is different. But like the difference, and Mary, you're here, so we talk about it. Like somebody that's before 65 that retires, their premium it's a couple $100 more a month, right?
Oh, probably more than that.
Yeah. So there is a premium difference in there. And then when you're over 65 on the state health plan like we are, you go into a Medicare Advantage plan. So, okay.
well, I'm comfortable, I would be more comfortable at 18, and obviously the 20 number has to change on the bottom. I don't know how you feel, Dan.
I'm fine with that. So it's basically the way I understand this. The fund balance is going to be between 18 and 20.
Yes, and right now we're above it. We don't,
Right.
this policy doesn't make us immediately have to dive down. Obviously, the police range is gonna use some of that. The last calculation I did before this fiscal year ended, so it's gonna get jumbled a little bit, was we had to spend like 2.1 to get to 20%. So in that 2.1 range, we'd have to spend to get to 20. But you'll see when we get to the comptroller report, revenue for the year exceeded the budget by 420,000, and we still haven't booked the 750,000 from the state for the LoSiP when we did the roads. So our revenue number in theory is going to be $1 million over what we budgeted. So that would go into fund balance, but that is something that could be used in one of the manners listed below.
And that was at 2.1 was at 20, not 18.
Yeah, to get just the
Just
20.
get to 20. Right.
Yeah. So, but I know there's school HVAC issues. So obviously it'd be really easy to spend millions of dollars, but we're gonna do it the right way.
No, I'm sure, well,
You know,
we're on tape, but I'm sure you'd find a way.
not me. I don't like spending money. I'm cheap.
Excellent, excellent. I'd accept a motion on this if anybody would like to make a motion.
Sure, I do want, maybe just one question.
Yeah.
I'm fine with doing the 18, get that. The question I have, though, Brett, is I take it then if we're in between 18 and 20, we're not going to be able to, if we're below 20, but we're above 18, we're not going to be able to use funds for transfers into the debt service fund, cap non-recurring, or the tax stabilization fund. I think that's the practical implication of the.
Yeah, it could be. So to your point, maybe we just make them 18 across the board because it says the excess may be used. So that's a very valid point of maybe we go 18, 18, 18.
Well, my question is, why didn't Bob straighten that out when you had the time?
Because he had 15, 15, 18.
Oh.
All right, so why don't, your advice now, your recommendation, Brad, then would be to just conform all of it to 18.
To your point, I think that makes sense. And that accomplishes what I want to accomplish. That says our goal, because this policy is a goal, really, let's be honest, because you could always do whatever you want in an emergency.
Yeah, but
Is
then
to
it
stay
wouldn't,
above 18.
Right.
You know, and that, to Bob's point, would allow you to then go down to 19 in a year that taxes would be way up because of X, Y, and Z. And if you know that's coming the following year, like you have a big debt increase, you could put more into the tax stabilization, knowing that you have something coming up. So,
but as of right now, we can, if we make this other policy, we can almost put 700 into this stabilization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's typically money at the end of each year.
yes,
you know,
yes.
so-
So conform it all to 18.
Yeah, so really, then we're just adjusting the 215s because the last one was already at 18.
I will make a motion to accept Brad's recommendation as we just discussed it with 18 across the.
Yeah, with the cleanup language that you did, because there was, the other policy had additional language. So we're completely replacing the previous policy with this one at the 18, 18, 18.
Dan, you have a clean
Okay.
copy of this, right?
Yeah, so your motion is going to be this with 18, 18, 18.
Exactly.
Okay,
So we have a motion. Do we have a second? Dan seconded,
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Bob made the motion.
and we have a second for Dan. Is there any other discussion? Dee, are you okay? You understand, right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank
You're all
you.
good? Okay. All right, so let me try everybody's mind. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Let the record show it's unanimous. All right, the next thing on the agenda is, again, the tax stabilization fund, which I think is a great thing. Brad, why don't you just go into that a little bit and then we'll try
So
people's minds.
we had talked about what we're trying to accomplish with it. The only difference between really what was here and what we initially talked about in this is Bob cleaned up most of the
Cleaned up,
language, right?
Yep.
There weren't any, substantially, it made some big differences because the language contradicted itself a little bit. So this, because it's a new ordinance, as written, I think we're good to go.
And just to repeat what Brad was saying, to be clear, I did not attempt, and I believe I did not change the substance of the
No,
agreement.
yeah.
I put my 4 years of law school to penmanship and just tried to clean the thing up. So, to Brad's point, it's really just words of substance.
So Brad, I see that there's a maximum of 500 that we can put in this a year. Is that, I'm sorry. You transfer 500,000, there's a limit on that? I mean,
It to use towards affecting the mill rate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
we
not
can
how
only
much you
spend
can put in,
500.
you
Okay,
can
I'm
only
sorry.
spend 500.
I've been corrected.
So.
And I think this is a way to give the taxpayer a little a refund, you know, really, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, on something
Well-
bad. Not saying we have to use it.
Yeah. I wouldn't look at it as, I understand why I use the word refund. I would look at it as, it's a way to kind of smooth curves. So you're not gonna necessarily use it every year. You know, if there's a year that expenses aren't up a lot and then you have good grand list and your tax rate increase is small, you probably won't want to dip into it. And a year where something's popping on
Oh,
you,
I totally
it's a
agree.
great time to use it.
And when I say refund, I mean, this was tax money already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now we can buy something, you know what I mean? You know, instead of taxing them again.
Yeah.
That's all I mean.
Yeah, no, it's a way to affect the mill rate without affecting the bond rating.
Let's
And
just
yeah.
dumb this down. It's a refund.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept
You're saving me?
as Brad has recommended.
Excellent. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And second, any other discussion on this tax stabilization fund? Dee, you're all good? Thumbs up?
Yep, sounds like a good idea.
Keyboard. Oh, she had that off of.
And just a heads up, both are being sent, the motions have to say they're being sent
To
to
the
the
Board of
Board of
Selectmen,
Selectmen.
exactly. Right,
So.
exactly. So, great, excellent. All in favor? Do you
Aye.
go to planning and zoning?
Yeah.
You just go all the way down the hallway, go up the ramp and all the way down the hallway, okay? Meeting room D.
Let
Okay,
the
so,
record show Nick gave directions.
yes, very helpful. I helped an old lady at a housing property today. and She was very thankful. Trying to give you a tip, but I didn't. So again, we had a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, record showed unanimous. The next thing and the last thing is a comptroller's report.
Alright.
Brad, what do you got?
We'll start talking about revenue. I already hit on it a little bit. As of yesterday, when I ran this, right now, the revenues have exceeded the budget by $420,000. We at some point should book an accounts receivable for the $750,000 for the road work. We can't submit it to the state until we have all the bills. So the work's been done. We just need to wait till the bills come in, so then we can submit for the reimbursement. It doesn't make sense to submit like 400,000, then go back and do 300,000. We'll do it all at once. But accounting wise, we can book the whole 750 as a receivable because it is a reimbursement for what we spent last fiscal year.
So just a quick one. So we paid those bills on it out of our operating fund and we have 750 that's gonna come back. to the good
Yes.
side.
Yeah, we will have paid because we're still waiting, but yes, you are correct. So otherwise revenue looks good, and that's with the use of money being way down. And that is based on interest. Interest rates are still extremely low. Even though they've come up, they have not come up to where we were budgeting, but we knew that was an issue when we did it. We did have the ability to use ARPA funds, but it doesn't look like we need to fill that hole. And just like we did with the 23 budget, we did the same thing. We left the interest higher than we think it might come in, but we knew that we had for these 2 years, the use of ARPA funds if we need that money to fill it. Any questions about and collection rates at 100.7, last year's at 99.68.
That's amazing. It's great. Great.
I know, how do you go over 100?
Yeah.
It's because you have prior year collections and interest and penalties, and
Some people
Yeah.
collections worked.
Yeah.
Good.
it's not based, based on actual money received, not just the tax
dollar
bill,
owed.
because you have, we took in. Other sheet here. Like from the prior year, we collected 569,000. We took in $390,000 in penalties and interest. So that's how you exceed the 100%.
And
Is that a
how-
Bethel record, Brad?
I believe so, because I believe Ann Scacco, the previous tax collector, said 99.7 was her highest. So, look at Paula go. She already beat her.
Yeah, right.
Nobody tell her.
New blood.
Any questions on revenue before I move over to expenses?
I just question that, that $3,200,000, or excuse me, $3,200 from lien fees. Is that not figured in that percentage because of the
It,
spreadsheet error?
it is because it's the percentage is doing the bottom line. It's doing, comparing the 71,999 versus.
Okay.
And there's a little difference in there because some of the personal property isn't a collection. We book it as personal property, but it's, it doesn't go through the tax collector's office. It's like, Eversource pays us a small amount for all the lines that they have in town, and there's some formula that the state put together years ago that they could either get property tax bills on it or they could bill it, and they, obviously it must be favorable for them to do it the way they do it. So that 40,000 there is not factored into it. So. Expenditures. The biggest thing you're gonna see here is utilities right now is $456,000 old. Before we get too scared of that number, every year we book a portion of the utilities to water and sewer. Their major bills go throughout the year, like the pump station bills from Eversource, they get billed right to water and sewer. The portion of, water and sewer pays a portion of the big Amoresco project that we did years ago that we spent $4.5 million, making us more energy efficient. That gets billed out at the end of the year. IT, also has some of that, so that's why data processing looks like it's over, but that'll come, I don't know if it'll come down the whole 53, but some of that, if you remember, we talked about during the budget season, the part-time person in IT was booked in the wage adjustment account. So, and that was 35,000 in the wage adjustment account. So once we book the water and sewer, and we get all the bills in, it'll be less than 35,000, I'm pretty sure. Just to highlight some, like miscellaneous charges, looks like it's still 826 to the good. I haven't done the journal entry for CNR yet to fund it. I believe we'll be able to do the whole 650. I've been holding off in case the utilities drove us to a really bad spot.
So
I
650 sitting in that number.
Yes, and there's 300,000 in intergovernment subsidies right above it. That's the funding of the paramedic fund. I've been holding off on both of those. They're just a journal entry. I can do at any point. Because all the cash sits in the general fund anyway. It's just an accounting thing that we have to book it to there. That if utilities really drove us to a really bad spot, in theory, this board would be able to transfer some of that into that. I don't want to. I don't think we're going to have to. But that was just my way of being able to wrap my brain around knowing that there's that bucket of money there.
The mischarges. Okay.
Yeah.
Why is the tree warden way off?
They did a lot of tree work. I noticed that yesterday. I haven't had a chance to talk about Dibble because he's on vacation this week. Of what all that was.
So obviously there's bills for it, so that money's got to come somewhere.
Yeah. So we paid it, so the other accounts most likely will make it up, but I was surprised that that was over. But a lot of that tree work is either emergency
Oh, no,
based
it has to be
or
done,
it's
right.
based on,
Something's gonna fall and be a
yeah,
liability.
they're going out doing road work and they notice something, they gotta take it down.
But on the other hand, the police are on the good side for 46. That's with overtime and everything up to
Yes.
this point?
Yep.
It's great,
We're still gonna be paying bills through probably the end of August.
but nothing crazy, right?
No,
Yeah.
well, the crazy bills would be the road bills that we get. 'Cause
Yeah, but not the police. The police
Yeah.
should all be pretty good, right?
yeah, the police are
weekly-
usually pretty on top of their bills. They're probably waiting on a couple.
Okay.
We did book probate, so probate is over by 3,000. It was over by like 30,000, but we did book Reading, Newtown, and Ridgefield portion. And the reason Bethel portion is over, I don't know if anybody's been up to probate lately. They were having a lot of security concerns, so they put in glass on their counter and a locked door. So I think that was the tune.
You
of-
called it booked or you billed? at the other
Booked.
time?
I booked the journal entry.
But they paid their bill. basically,
Yeah,
their
so
portion.
one has already sent us the check, the other two will get shortly.
Gotcha. Any other questions, everyone? Bob, you got something there.
No further questions for our comptroller.
I would like to make a motion that we accept Bob's report. I'm sorry, Bob's report. Wow. It's Brad's report as presented tonight. Do I have a second?
A second.
Hey, thank you for your second on that and your support. on that motion. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
With nothing being on the agenda, I would accept the motions for adjournment.
So moved.
Dan, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Accepting the report. Did we brought-
We
do every time? Okay.
You don't really have to. We didn't used to. At some point, we started to.
Yeah, I started, yeah.
Did we
It's a new
accept it?
trend.
I didn't know if it was just voting.